Malcolm was executed because Malcolm told the truth. America is a great country of lies. They say that they are a free enterprise system, yet it was a slave system that built this economy. We were the greatest capital input in America, slaves, and that they say this is a free enterprise system. Well, I am Abdullah Hafiz Abdur-Razzaq. I was earlier thought my name was James Monroe King Warden, but in the Nation of Islam, we found out that we were carrying names that were registered us by slavery. So I became James 67X Warden, which meant I was the 67th brother in Mosque number 7, named James by my parents. And the X meant I was no longer warden. I had previously known myself as warden. So I became James 67X Warden. And then a break came between Malcolm X and the Nation of Islam, and he did not want me to use the X, James 67X, because it was puzzling to reporters who were not acquainted with the terminology of the Nation of Islam. So he told me to call myself James Shabazz. Mr. Muhammad said that we, the so-called Negro, were descended from a tribe called Shabazz. And so all of us had the right to use the name Shabazz. So I was known while I was with Brother Malcolm as James Shabazz. And eventually Malcolm was executed, and I decided that I wanted a name that typified my father, who was a great provider. He was not a romantic man, but he was a provider. We always ate. And so in the Islamic faith, God has 99 attributes, and the 18th attribute is Razaka, which means he who provides. So I took the name for my family and myself as Abdur-Razzaq, he who provides, because that's one of the attributes of God in Arabic. So I am now James Abdullah Hafiz Abdur-Razzaq, which means he who provides, and my mission is to provide for my family. So this one particular day, Minister Malcolm, Minister Lewis, Minister John J. X from Hartford, Connecticut, and Minister Robert J. X from Buffalo, and Secretary Maceo and myself walked to her studio, which was on 89th or 90th Street on Central Park West. And I was struck. I said, here I am, walking down the street with 4 or 5 men. And they're not talking about women. They're not talking about drinking. They're not talking about smoking marijuana. Everything that they're talking about is beneficial to us as a people. And they all looked up to Brother Malcolm. And I said, wow, this is a good thing. I'm going to join. And that's what made me join. As I say, I'm not a politically sophisticated person. I speak in terms of what has been done to my family, more on a personal level. The president being killed was a very, very, very shocking thing to me. But to be frank with you, the killing of his brother was more shocking, because then I started seeing this as a pearl in a necklace. I use the term stringing the pearls because every experience we have is like a pearl, but they're unrelated. So to relate them, we have to now and then, I'm speaking of myself, this is how I live. I sit down every now and then and wool gather. People will use the term, but I call it stringing the pearls. I take all the white pearls and put them together, all the brown pearls and put them together, all the green pearls and put them together, and I string them. And from that, I get the interpretation of a number of events that I would not have seen as related had I not strung the pearls of a particular color. And then you find some pearls are triangular, some are round, some are oval. So you string them according to the size and the shape. And you keep doing that, and you find out that you become aware of a reality that you were never aware of, because the pearls were strung haphazardly. It's only when you consciously put things together that things now make a meaning for you. But it doesn't make a meaning for someone else. So it's very, very difficult for you to explain this, to say, well, look, I strung these pearls. And it makes it kind of lonesome, because nobody else sees this the way you see it, because they're seeing individual pearls instead of seeing necklaces. You understand? Mm-hmm. And then people are talking about Democrats and Republicans. What's the difference? America's America. I don't know. I don't know what to say. You talk about the great unspeakable. I read so long ago with John F. Kennedy's murder. I read that Fidel Castro came on television and said America was planning to invade Cuba. And John F. Kennedy went on television and said the man's a nut. He's crazy. What? And some plane, I think it was in Florida, crashed, and it had been part of a training mission to bomb Guantanamo. And so Kennedy said, no, you can't do this. And the CIA said, well, look, this guy's not dealing with reality. So we got to get rid of him. And at the time, this article said that the third floor of every American embassy was a CIA cover. And Kennedy said, no more will we be able to house the CIA in the embassies throughout the world. And it said that that's when they decided, we got to kill this man. Well, I don't know anything about politics, but I remember when Francis Gary Powers was shot down over Russia. And Eisenhower said, yeah, he was a spy. And Ruskin, he said he should have never said that. He should have lied. I said, damn. I'm not trying to convince anyone to think the way that I did. I served Malcolm. I gave him a year of my life. I served Mr. Muhammad. I gave him about 6 or 7 years of my life. And I feel that I am rewarded for having done so. But I am the resultant of a number of vectors that may not be vectors in someone else's life. I can talk to you or any other white person because Malcolm said until a black man, as he said, I say until a slave descendant can look at the offspring of masters and say exactly what's on my mind without fear of hurting their feelings, and until a descendant of masters who owned my family, until they can look at me and say exactly what's on their mind without fear of offending me, we're just pissing through a sieve, so to speak.